I was nothing more than a prop. His best teammate of all time. He called me. He couldn't have been more condescending if he tried. Each episode was the same. Michael on a pedestal, his teammates secondary, smaller. The message no different from when he referred to us back then as his supporting cast. From one season to the next, we received little or no credit whenever we won, but the bulk of the criticism when we lost. Michael Jordan would never have been Michael Jordan without me, Horace Grant, Tony Kukoc, John Paxson, Steve Kerr, Dennis Rodman, Bill Cartwright, Ron Harper, B.J. Armstrong, Luke Longley, Will Perdue, and Bill Wennington. I apologize to anyone I've left out. We bring back NBA insider Brian Windhorst. Windy, I will start with you. Is Scottie justified in these comments?
I don't know. That's a hard question, Molly. There's so many angles to this. You know, we're not talking about it, but in that excerpt that was in GQ, he absolutely slams John Paxson, who he won 3 titles with. John Paxson, he even describes, called him after the Last Dance aired, basically to offer that he felt bad. And he felt, Scottie says in the book, that he felt that it was Jordan who got Paxson to call, and then he slams Paxson for doing it, rips him in the book viciously. And that just shows me that he is feeling so much anger and hurt over this documentary, and it brings up so many difficult feelings from years ago. And you know, the older I get, the more I cover the NBA. This is my 19th year covering the NBA. The more I realize that people like David Stern and Pat Riley are so sage in some of the things that they say, and some of the things that Pat Riley has said and written about championship teams and the difficulty of people wanting more when they win. Scottie Pippen showing the hurt and how he's wanted more for all this time, it's really a window into the remarkability of those championship runs and how difficult it is to be a teammate of a champion like Michael Jordan.
Well, Brian, first of all, I appreciate where you're coming from. You know how much I respect your perspective and your work, my brother. You know that. But let me say this to you. We use the word empathy, Key, Wendy, to describe how we should feel about Scottie Pippen. To some degree, I think you're right. I like Scottie. And Scottie is one of the all-time greats. He didn't need to make the 75 list. He was on the 50 list. And he deserved it. 6-time champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, one of the greatest defensive players this game has ever seen. There's no question about Scottie Pippen. And Michael Jordan himself has acknowledged on many occasions, publicly and privately, that he'd never be a champion that he was without Scottie Pippen. We know that. Scottie Pippen, however, I wouldn't totally go the empathy route, not just because a lot of it was self-inflicted in terms of his troubles and his issues, but also because some of it is self-imagined. This notion that he's not respected, this notion that he's not appreciated, that's just patently false. Anybody who knows the game of basketball knows what Scottie Pippen was. It's just that you still were not Michael Jordan. That's the crime. Now, let me understand something here. Jordan was hurt his second year in the league, played 18 games. I'm going to give you his first 7 complete seasons, Keyshawn. He averaged 28.2 points as a rookie, 37.1, 35, 32.5, 33.6, 31.5, 30. His first 7 years in the NBA. 3 of those years were without Scottie Pippen. The NBA was marketing dunks and marketing the extraordinary skills of a Michael Jordan. That was what was going to propel the league to an international, global, iconic brand. And it was solidified with the Dream Team, the Barcelona Olympics, in which Scottie Pippen was a part of, and Isaiah Thomas got hosed out of being a part of, in part because of Scottie Pippen. I bring up Scottie Pippen because even though Jordan and others weren't keen about Isaiah Thomas, Scottie Pippen proudly will acknowledge he had something to do. He gave opinions about how he didn't want Isaiah Thomas on the team. Does that deserve empathy? I don't think so. I don't think so. And so when I look at Scottie Pippen and he's talking this way and he's coming across as a victim, I'm saying, my brother, a lot of it you did to you. It wasn't Jordan. And then, Key, to acknowledge, according to the New York Post, that you regret not giving Michael Jordan condolences when his father passed.
Oh, well, you
listen
right there.
Listen to this. Listen to this. You did that That's when, before Jordan retired after the first three-peat, the 2 years he was gone, when you welcomed him back and you three-peated again and beyond, all of those years, you acknowledged that you didn't do that. What does that mean, Key? What does that mean, Wendy? That means you did that on purpose.
Deliberately.
Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan I know, that I speak to, he will never forget that. There's a line that was crossed here. And then, oh, by the way, Phil Jackson's been called a lot of things. You know me, I love Phil Jackson, the coach. I despise Phil Jackson, the executive, because of what he did to my Knicks. We know that, okay? Phil Jackson a racist? He called Phil Jackson a racist. 28 years later. Come on, man. I can't give empathy totally with that. I know he's hurting, but you know what? You got to look at the hurt you inflicted. Somebody got to.
But what I would say, though, about the documentary, The Last Dance, yeah, it's a lot about Michael. But Michael, for all intents and purposes, was the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, you're going to tell the story of Dennis Rodman, and you're going to tell the story of Paxton and Kerr, and you're going to tell the story to a degree of Scottie Pippen. But this sounds like, to me, an all-out assault, clearly on Michael Jordan for whatever reason there is. Whatever happened along those lines, Scottie can't get over that. And let's not forget, when Scottie had the opportunity to close the deal, he had a migraine. When Scottie had an opportunity to take the shot, I mean, Kukoc didn't. He didn't want to be a part of it. He decided to check out. Michael Jordan had the flu. He dropped 30-plus points.
35.
35. You gave me the right number. So, to me, it's kind of like you will never be MJ. You always are going to be known as a guy who helped MJ win championships at a high level. Like you said, Stephen A., 6 championships, 2 gold medals, all that, top 50 player all time. But you're never, ever going to ever see Michael Jordan. It's just not going to happen.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.